Welcome to Extreme Talk, presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Request your appointment online. $20 off your new patient office visit when you mention 8-Man Extreme. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Fueled by Fairlife, Core Power Protein. Financially supported in part by First Horizon and sponsored by Crumble Cookies and Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Welcome to everyone watching or listening around the world. Spencer Thompson alongside James Shannon. Your camera's to the right there, sir.
I was doing a general hello.
That's fair.
Look,
but
you interrupted yourself. I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah, it happens. Welcome to everyone watching and listening around the world. We are concluded with Week 5. Let's start out the proper way. Happy birthday to Brendan Daniel, big 30. Happy birthday to him. He's Look, I know you're a few years out from the big 30, but that doesn't mean you have to slow clap for because
How
of that.
many times you going to say happy birthday to the boy?
A lot of times. You got to give a good acknowledgement for him. But he's out today. He did send me his picks for Week 6.
I know it's empty over here.
It is. We'll get to the Week 6 picks later on in the show, but he is out today. And how was your anniversary celebration last weekend?
It was good. We did absolutely nothing. Actually, I'm pretty sure we did something.
I heard she made Monica made biscuits and gravy on Labor Day morning. Yeah, we can't tell Brendan that. I don't know if he's going to watch back the show today.
No,
but
actually, I think she made them. Sunday. One of the 2 days. They were fantastic.
Just don't tell Brendan.
I ate them multiple days, so I don't remember which day she made it. No, it was good. It was good and laid back. Which, at this point, when you've been married for 7 years and you have 2 kids, it's doing nothing is a commodity.
And that's 7 years now at this
7
point?
years.
7 years. A few years out from a decade of being together with the same person.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Wouldn't trade it for the world, though, I'm sure.
Let's get through year 7.
All right. I'm sure you'll get through year 7. You'll not just survive, you will thrive.
What I might not survive is the way my freaking fantasy team's playing.
I have my phone down because the optimization feature in the NFL Fantasy app thought it was a good idea to start Robert Tonyan over Rob Gronkowski. I am not using that feature ever again.
I wouldn't. I don't know. The ESPN one's pretty good because it said play Pittsburgh defense over Tennessee defense. Pittsburgh got 13 points in terms of the ESPN, how they do fantasy. And Tennessee is -2 after getting absolutely smacked by Arizona.
I'm not looking at it until after the show because I'll just have too much raw emotion.
I'm also playing Aaron Rodgers and he has 0 points. So we're just going to –
If week 1, anything can happen in week. You want to try that again with Pop Socket?
Let's reenact a famous 8-Man Extreme TikTok. Don't worry.
I'm not going
to do what do you think I'm going to do. Freak out, man.
I remember that TikTok recently. Yeah, that's what happens when you reenact TikToks.
Ow.
Lesson learned.
Like right there. Anyways.
Anything can happen on any given NFL Sunday, and anything can happen on any given 8-Man Friday, as we saw this past weekend. Let's get you recapped with Week 5 around the 8-Man football world. We start out with the westernmost game of the teams we cover out in Jackson, Tennessee. The South Haven Christian School Patriots travel out to collide with the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. 58-26. South Haven continues to roll. They have not lost a game yet, and the question lies, is a loss incoming for the South Haven Patriots this year, or are they going to continue on the trend? From what we've seen from the Patriots thus far, they're a well-structured team. They've got a lot of great pieces in place, and they really filled those gaps that they lost with guys like Andrew Crawley and Emmanuel Deng graduating earlier this year. So for the Patriots,
Drew Atkinson.
Drew Atkinson, that was the other name. It was the trio that had been freshmen in the 2017 championship. Those trio graduated earlier this year, and those pieces have seemed to be filled for the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, they still had Noah Starnes. They still, Ben Sorto has really stepped up for them. Drew's little brother, Jake, has absolutely taken off. Mandy Deng's little brother is playing really well. Had a kickoff return for a touchdown the other night. I'm trying to count. I know it was 0-0 at the end of the first. So Sacred Heart, the story I heard is that they picked up extra players before the Heat game The whole start of school influx of kids coming back to school, and then kids are like, oh, we have football, I want to play football. They decided not to play them against the Heat, just for coherency reasons. So they didn't have them against the Heat. Of course, they started off well against the Heat. Heat came back and won. So then they reeled off the 2 wins the past 2 weeks against West Memphis Christian and Abundant Life. Everyone said, okay, really know how to take them. And then they rolled out there against South Haven, tied at 0 at the end of the first quarter, which I was really surprised with. But then, South Haven took over. Starnes had 2 touchdowns. Ben Sorto had 3 touchdowns of his own. He had 2 26-yard runs and a 54-yard touchdown run. And then Jake Atkinson had a touchdown run, and Gabriel Ding had the kickoff return for a touchdown. So, and I don't have the scoring update for Sacred Heart in terms of who scored for them. So I don't like that, because I like to know who actually scored and who did well for Sacred Heart. But it was a matter of South Haven making the adjustments they needed to make, and then moving on and taking control of the game, and that's what they're going to have to do upcoming this week. Again, in the Battle of 76.
It's going to be a tough matchup next week for the Patriots, but congratulations to them. They continue their season.
Will it really be tough though, Spence?
It could be. It could be. You'll get into that. You'll get into that in week 6. You'll get into it.
It's that tough.
Hey, you'll get into it with the predictions, but at least for now, the Patriots start out with a record of 5 wins, 0 losses as they head into their 6th game of the season for a divisional matchup, as James mentioned, in the Battle of 76 against the Christian Community School Colts. And as for the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights, they start out their season 1-2. They have a bye week this weekend before they travel to Franklin to collide with
2-2.
Franklin Classical School Knights, and correct on that.
2-2.
That's right. I'm looking at the helmet schedule. It's got them playing 3 games, and they picked up one, I believe, September 3rd.
They picked up the West Memphis game.
Yep. So 2 wins, 2 losses for the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. Well, the next matchup, we go south of the Tennessee border for the Evangel Christian School Lightning. Their matchup with the independent North River Christian School, I believe, Chargers.
Yep.
40-6. What a bounce-back win for Coach Tim Smith and company, especially with that tough loss against Grace Baptist and then the forfeit win the previous week from the Southern Christian Patriots. So now the Evangel Lightning, they've got some momentum to build off of. They've got 2 wins now on the season, or 2 wins to that point, make it 3 with their win against Franklin Christian. So 3 wins, only 1 loss. Evangel still looking good, still looking like a lot of things to build off of, and it's just a testament again to how Coach Tim Smith can turn things around week by week.
Well, North River has had a tough season. They've played some tough opponents. As a matter of fact, they were 0-4 going into the game, and the information that I got was in terms of North River. Obviously we know Evangel's going to roll into whatever game. They're stacked. They're loaded. They can play 8 and 11 and do well at both. In terms of North River, though, I believe they only had 18 to 19 kids suited up for Friday night, and had about 7 kids out with illnesses and COVID issues. So I believe 13 of the kids were JV, and just a very depleted roster that North River rolled out. But so much respect to that coach for still showing up to the game and going, hey, we're going to play. We're going to give our all. In terms of Evangel, man, I mean, they kept going. They kept rolling. Pull up these stats real quick because I want to give shout-outs where shout-outs are due. Hang on. I know I should have had it pulled up. I thought I had the correct ones pulled up.
Hey, it happens.
I thought I had the correct ones pulled up, and I didn't. So I want to specifically shout out to Evangel for being very, very organized with their statistics. Very organized, very detailed, on max preps, ready to go. I had them, and then I lost them. I had them, and then I didn't have them. Hang on. Bear with me. I know Whitfield had a good night. Let's see. Here we go. So, Eli Whitfield had 146 passing yards. Hayden Black led the team with 7 tackles. Zach Chandler had a sack and a half, technically. Caleb Lumpkin, big old boy from number 59, you make it happen, 13 pancake blocks.
Whew.
I mean, that's a lot of syrup that dude is picking up. A lot of syrup. Tyler Wilson was the leading running back for the night, so just a dominant performance for Evangel. I know everyone looked at the game against Grace and goes, "Oh, they've slacked off." They haven't. They hit a buzzsaw, and you can't count out Evangel at any point. I know they were playing a tough team, but they've got a big matchup coming up this week, and it's a huge test for them.
Oh, yeah, the Evangel Lightning, they've got a tough matchup ahead, but congratulations to them on getting the victory on the road. The following week, heading into September 17th, we're about midway through September at this point. Time going by fast. They travel to Huntsville, up I-65 to collide with the Freedom Cowboys, who are just as loaded and just as stacked, arguably, as Evangel is. So that should be an interesting matchup. As for North River Christian, I believe if I look at the schedule correctly, their next matchup is against the Southern Christian Patriots at home. So
that actually, I know we don't get in depth to cover North River and Southern Christian, but just from my knowledge of these two teams, that actually should be a pretty good game if North River can get those players back that they were mentioned.
Might be two teams that are covered in the future by 8-Man Extreme.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah,
honestly, we're trying to get somebody who can cover Alabama 8-man football in depth.
Yep, was trying to get.
Is that correct?
This is the first time of the 2021 broadcast season where the James Squirrel moment has happened, where he is looking at the monitor.
You're hilarious. You're a real riot there.
Yeah, he's looking at the monitor there for NFL Sunday Ticket. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. The Freedom Cowboys. Speaking of the Freedom Cowboys, we'll actually get to them in a moment. Franklin Christian Academy Falcons 41, the Zion Christian Academy Eagles 16. And that was on homecoming night for Zion Christian Academy, James. And, you hate it for the Eagles, especially with it being an in-division matchup. You really hate to see it. But it's, for Zion, they have some things to build off of as they head into the rest of the season.
Well, and Zion, you see the two teams, Zion and Grace, coming into 8-man, and just completely different trajectories in terms of how they've performed this season. And they had a close game. The close game with Franklin Classical, that could have been a win, but FCA just took over the game and played really well. Zion able to put up a little bit of a fight, but it's tough for Zion. They've really got to. They'll get it together. They'll get it rolling. I know they have a rough part of the season coming up. Max Preps is still wrong, too. They've got Zion playing.
Yeah, we got them
playing Pickett County.
Yeah, they probably just haven't updated it. Some schools keep their Max Preps updated. Some of them don't.
Now, I do like this game they've got coming up next Friday.
Oh, yeah. I was about to get into that.
That is interesting.
Unfortunate for the
one team get their first win.
Oh, yeah. The one team is bound to get their first win coming up this weekend. But, of course, for Zion Christian, they travel to Antioch to collide with the Lighthouse Christian School Lions.
Hang tight just a second, because I do want to give a shout-out to the Zion players that scored the other night.
You got some statistics you can pull
I
up?
I do have a couple. So we had Logan Abbott throwing a touchdown pass to Jack Willems. Abbott got the 2-point conversion on that one. And then you had Josh Harrison running for a touchdown. Did I get a wrong score? No, it was 47-16.
No, it was 41-16.
41-16.
Yeah.
No, it was 40.
That's at least what I had on. If you're not already following 8-Man Extreme on social media, definitely follow, because the score reports are always posted at the end of the evening. Is 41-16 is what we had reported on there for.
I know it 41. For some reason, this is 47, and I don't think that's correct. I want to check real quick. I think it was 47. That's confusing.
Wow.
Okay, well, I know it looks like Josh Harrison had a touchdown run for Zion. Yeah, Josh Harrison, the senior. So, see, 47 makes me think, because it says Zion on here. Maybe it didn't stand. It says Zion, but then it has Graham LeGraze. But I don't have him on any Zion roster. So I think it was 47.
Okay, well, 47-16 again. Zion Christian, they travel to Antioch to collide with the Lighthouse Christian School Lions as they look for their first win in 8-man football. As we continue on.
And there's one other there's one other way to check it real quick. Let's see. Anyways, you can keep going. I'm going to check into this.
All right, he's just looking at it. All right, let's continue on. The Freedom Cowboys. You got it.
It was 47.
47-16.
So we were told incorrectly that it was 41. It was 47.
Okay, 47-16. The Freedom Cowboys, almost the final score that we had down in Chattanooga. Just short a few points on that. 48-6. The coach Kyle Collins and company gets the victory against the East Central Homeschool Patriots. And this is another example of Coach Collins just reloading and regrouping. You know, last year had their struggles, went about 500, and it's definitely one of these. It sets up for a good matchup against the Evangel Christian School Lightning next weekend. But for Coach Collins, continue to keep the ball rolling, and right now the Freedom Cowboys through 5 weeks are 5-0.
Into the first quarter, Freedom was up 14-0, and then Freedom rolled off 34 second quarter points. Just went to town. East Central got a touchdown in the second quarter, and score stayed at 48-6 through the entire second half at the running clock. So, again, dominant performance by Freedom, and it really, you mentioned it, it does set up for a massive game between Evangel and Freedom, which you should be able to watch if the issues they had the other night get sorted out, which I think they will. Mm-hmm. Should be able to watch via Evangel's YouTube channel.
Yep.
So I know I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it 100%. They do a fantastic job. Super excited about getting a chance to catch that game.
You'll probably be multitasking watching that while doing all the scoring updates from around the rest of the teams.
I will incorporate it in the scoring updates.
Granted, you won't have to do color commentary on air on Friday because we'll have Brendan back.
True.
So that'll give you some relief at least. But congratulations to the Freedom Cowboys for starting out 5-0. They're looking to go 6-0 as they collide with the Evangel Christian School Lightning at home this coming Friday. We now get on to the only game where unfortunately a team did not put up a single point, and that was the Tennessee Heat's first 11-man game of the season. They took the loss 87-0 against Clarksville Academy. And James, you look at the history of the 11-man games that the Tennessee Heat has played. They played Red Bowling Springs consistently over the last several years, but they haven't had a chance to play a well-established 11-man program.
I think they played Webb as well.
I think that may have actually been 2019. They may have gotten Webb in for a game.
Webb.
So they played Webb at least once, and I believe they did compete with them fairly well in 2019. But it's been a while since they've established a contest against a.
They haven't played an 11-man against an established program that has been around for an extended amount of time. Other than Red Bull Inland Springs, and everybody knows the struggles of Red Bull Inland Springs. So, this was their first big 11-man test, and it didn't go so well. I mean, Clarksville Academy rolled in 3-0, but there were some chinks in the armor that the Heat thought they could take advantage of. Unfortunately, they were still missing some players. Still had, of course, Carter Sutton out. Had a couple guys that they were maybe getting back, thought they could perform well. It just didn't go well. The night didn't go well. 38 first quarter points for Clarksville. And then
35 in the second quarter,
yeah.
and by that point they had a touchdown in the third and fourth quarter likely
no,
on
was
there.
Was it? Well, hang on. No,
I'm looking at the Max Preps box
60,
score.
66 points. It was 66-0 at halftime. So 38 and 66 is 28. So 28 second quarter points.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what it says on Max Prep. It says 38 in the first quarter, 35 in the second quarter, and then a touchdown in the third, touchdown in the fourth.
Maybe my math's incorrect.
So just going by. I'm just going by that.
Weird. That's weird that the box score is different than.
Well, at least the final score is still the same. At least it doesn't affect that outcome.
Right. Exactly.
But for the Tennessee Heat, their first 11-man game results in a loss. They travel back home for their homecoming night this Friday as they host. It's going to be an interesting contest against Providence Christian Academy Lions.
For sure.
That's going to be
a big test.
A big test for sure. Well, a big test that happened on Friday night. It seems the second year in a row that this contest has come right down to the wire between the Ezekiel Academy Knights and the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. Coach J.J. Duarte and company got it done at 34-32. What a close competition. It was just like last year where came down to, I believe, the last play where they missed a point after a 2-point conversion attempt, and that resulted in the tie-breaking scenarios for Lighthouse and Ezekiel to be in the state championship for the ACSC.
Right.
So now this contest, and you were catching some of the broadcast for that contest and seeing the scoring going back and forth and such, and you were giving me updates as we were calling the game on Friday night down in Chattanooga, and it seemed like it was just very much a back-and-forth bout, fighting to the very finish, and the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors came out with the win.
If that was the situation last year, it was the exact same situation this year. With about a minute left, Ezekiel scored a touchdown, tied the ball game, they were within two-point conversion, would have tied the ball game. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, but both these teams fantastic about getting their stats up on Max Preps. Actually, I believe these are the stats. Might not be.
While you're looking at that box score for the game, 14-7 at the end of the first. The Lighthouse was leading, then 12-8, so about 19-22. So there was never, unless it was in the fourth quarter, there was never a point where the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors were down. Unless it got down to the fourth quarter, maybe a touchdown by Ezekiel Academy. But the majority of the game, Lighthouse controlled the tempo.
Because I did get some awesome scoring updates. So let's see, it was 6-0. Ezekiel took a 7-6 lead. And then Lighthouse pulled ahead 22-7. Ezekiel came back to make it 22-19 at halftime. And then they traded touchdowns again. So it was 28-26. Lighthouse pulled ahead 34-26, and then Ezekiel scored that last touchdown. So Ezekiel led one time earlier in the game, 7-6, but from there Lighthouse took the lead and did not relinquish the lead. But Ezekiel able to stay in the game, and a big win for Lighthouse Homeschool, big division win in the ACSC for Lighthouse. Evangel has not played any. No, I take that back. They played.
That was their forfeit when they had against the Southern Christian Patriots
I was about to
last
say that
week.
was the only division win they had, or conference win they had. So
so far.
This is a big one for Lighthouse, because I believe Lighthouse has played a couple division games. Of course, there's five teams in the AC, 5 teams in the ACSC. We've been through them before. There's Ezekiel, Evangel, Lighthouse, Southern Christian, and East Central.
So far, the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, they've played Southern Christian and North River.
So they're 2-0 right now. Ezekiel is 0-1 in division. Yeah. So that's tough.
It is certainly tough, but it came down right to the wire. The Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors got it done, and they're now 2-0 in division. So congratulations to Coach J.J. Duarte and company as They next host Trinity is what we have on our master schedule. So so they will have that contest at home next week.
Interesting.
Trinity Christian Homeschool.
Interesting note about Trinity Christian Homeschool. They are the former Hope Christian, little rabbit trail, little history rabbit trail. Former Hope Christian, who did have 8-man, and they actually beat Webb in 2013 for the national title. Webb had an undefeated season, went to NACA. They met Hope there, and Hope beat them for the national title. Only lost of the season that Webb took all year.
And as for the Ezekiel Academy Knights, they continue their road stint where they travel to East Central Homeschool next week. And finally, at least on Friday night, the final game, all the contests that were occurring that we were at down in Ottawa, Grace Baptist Academy, the Golden Eagles 48, Christian Community School Colts 14. And, we talked about it on air. It was just Coach Ateka and company being the same the level of dominance that we've seen throughout the season. I mean, everyone was wondering with that Bradley Knights win if it was just a fluke, if it was the Golden Eagles not maybe just facing off against a team.
I was wondering if it was a fluke.
Yeah, but you were even wondering at that question. Then we saw their game against every week it's been first week Bradley Knights. Okay, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe it was a team that shouldn't have been on the field. Who knows? Second week, Ezel Harding.
Who hadn't gotten to practice all week.
Not a practice. They had to do COVID quarantine. Okay, maybe this is different and such. Evangel. And
that was really the game where it goes,
okay,
where I went, okay.
Maybe.
Hold up.
Like, maybe we should start focusing on this stuff a little bit.
Well, it wasn't that. It was maybe this isn't a fluke. Maybe this isn't, just 2 gimme wins and then, they beat Evangel. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they go beat Providence.
Yeah, especially with Providence having that close win against Lancaster, 25-20,
and they looked good. They've looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well,
excuse me, that close loss.
Yeah,
25-20.
And they go in there and just whoop Providence at Providence, and it's like, okay, well, maybe CCS, who's well coached and very organized and disciplined, maybe they can roll in. Maybe CCS can handle business or keep it close.
Yeah,
did not keep it close.
Unfortunately, they didn't get their touchdown
at
scored.
Kickoff, it was close.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Close at kickoff.
You're not wrong in that regard. It was unfortunately another one-sided matchup we saw. But what we will acknowledge, great environment, especially with it being
awesome.
A temporary setup for because their field is going to finish construction for next year. Great setup.
I would say if you're Grace, you have a tall task ahead of you. That field that you're building has to top what you've got there at Hunter Middle, and that's going to be a tall order because that's a great environment. The crowd was packed. Yes, there's not a whole lot of bleachers, but you got the hill.
Yep.
People can sit like a grass berm almost at a baseball stadium. People can sit on the hill.
And that little press stand that they had us up in next to the scorekeeper and their
that
huddle
elevation is
the elevation is great. I mean, obviously there's only so much you could work with how small the space is, but I mean, you were in front of me, in front of the table. The way it was set up, we had camera, James, table, myself, and I was basically leaning up against the cross-section wood boards that were on top there, and we still had breathing room. Like, it wasn't too cramped or anything.
A terrible situation.
Yeah, and it was really that, and there are people on the sides of us who were just either laying down on the field in the grass or they brought lawn chairs or stuff to get that great elevation view of the field and everything. It was it really was for a temporary setup. It's not too bad.
And just want to speak to the hospitality that we experienced there. Obviously, there's places we go that Evangel, Heat. There's places we go where it's just red carpet rolled out. Thank you guys for coming, and it's not these guys are here. We've been at those places. Oh, these guys are here. That was not the case at all on Friday night. It was always, hey, how can we help you? Can we get you guys this? How about this? To drive 2.5 hours down there and be rushed, and we were trying to get set up. The experience we had down there, I did not regret. Even with the game being a blowout and those being tough games to call, did not regret one bit making that trip down Friday night.
How about the chugging contest you had during the post game?
I lost. Okay, I lost.
That and also the post game being synced with the PA system. I think that was pretty.
To hear
I mean,
yourself.
yeah. Again, I've done it several times with the
I
prize
know
presentation.
You have.
It's
I
still
haven't.
weird.
I felt like I was at a concert or like I was cutting a WWE promo.
It doesn't get any easier. I'll just leave it at that for you. But no, it absolutely was a great experience down in Ottawa. And
I do want to do, because Grace does have those game stats on Max Preps.
Honor the players.
And
yep.
now I'm going to honor the players. Cooper Connett, 12 of 15, 60 yards rather, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So a 160.4 quarterback rating. You know what the highest quarterback rating you can get is? 163. 160. He missed 3 passes, and I don't even know that most of them were those 3 were his fault. He did lead the team in rushing, 41 yards rushing. They really didn't have to run the ball a ton because Connett was just dropping FDR dimes everywhere. Everywhere.
You and the FDR dimes comment, man.
Listen,
I mean, it works.
Caleb Adams, defending Crumble Cookie Player of the Week, 4 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mason Long, 6 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cole Mason.
Yeah, Mason Long, player of the game, too.
Mason Long, player of the game. Cole Mason, 2 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. So, receiving core, those 3 were just solid, super solid. In terms of tackles, Mason Long, who was the player of the game, he was actually tied with Bo Swanson, who was player of the game against Ezell Harding. 8 total tackles for both of them, 3 tackles for loss for Swanson, 2.5 for Long. Swanson led the team in tackles for loss. Mason Long also had the 2 interceptions for Grace Baptist. The only 2 interceptions they had. Pierce Smith had 2 fumble recoveries. He had a forced fumble. They only had to punt 1 time, but just they only got 3 kickoffs.
Yeah.
They only received 3 kickoffs.
I think
it was opening. I think they received kickoff to open the game.
I think so.
And then the 2 second-half touchdowns that CCS scored. And that's it, just 3 kickoff returns. I mean, they did not have a whole lot of work to do on that front.
There's not much work the Golden Eagles had to do, but for Christian Community, they got some work to do as they head into next week. But congratulations to the Golden Eagles. They continue their 8-man football debut at 5-0, looking to go 6-0 with their tough divisional matchup coming up against the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights on Saturday. And as for the Christian Community School Colts, they start out their season at 2-2, and they host the South Haven Christian School Patriots, another tough divisional matchup. The TSIAA playoffs really start to shape up next week with several of the matchups there as we go to the final contest that we covered this past weekend, the only game occurring of the teams we cover, and I'm pretty sure the only game in the Southeast in 8-man football occurring that night, or one of maybe a handful of games that were going on.
No, it was only one.
Yep, only one in the Southeast. Lancaster Christian Academy Knights got the job done 56-32 against Ezell Harding and the Eagles. And for Lancaster Christian, they start out 3-0, and it was close at halftime. The Eagles, for all of the cards they were dealt with their head coach being out and 2 of their starters being out in the game and having to be used to their defensive coordinator and Coach Thompson calling the plays on both sides of the ball, it was very much a testament to how the players and the coaching staff realized this is a situation where, yes, our coach is out, and yes, we got this decision the day of, but it's time for us to step up, try and get this win for coach, and make a statement on the road. And for Ezell Harding, they fought through till about halfway through the third quarter, but that's also when Lancaster Christian just turned on the Jets and shut it down.
Well, I mean, what killed them was the 21 third quarter points, and really the fourth quarter, they did score that touchdown right at the end. So technically, if not for that touchdown, it's 56-24 or 56-24 because they got the 2-point conversion. So it would have been Lancaster would have outscored Ezell Harding 21-6 in the third quarter and 15-6 in the fourth quarter. So a combined 36-12 second half. But the second half, I mean, it was two totally different halves.
Yep.
Lancaster really stepped up in that second half. The first half, they go up by 12-0. Ezel Harding just battles back and ties it up. Lancaster, quick 3-play drive and scores. Ezel Harding, they get a drive going to end the half. Had a big catch, got on Lancaster's side, got in scoring position, just could not convert. And then, of course, if they had gotten the ball after half, they could have taken that momentum and kept going. But Lancaster came out and just laid the block down and said, hey, this is our game, and just dominated the rest of the game. And a huge shout-out to Extreme Player of the Game, but Core Power Player of the Game, Melvin Cousins. The quarterback for Ezel Harding just really went out there, and he laid his heart and soul on the line for that for the Ezel Harding Eagles. James Hyman had a great game on the defensive side. Faisha, what was the receiver's name?
I'll look up at the roster for you real quick.
I should know that receiver's name.
Hey man, you've gotten some.
I've slept since then.
There's Murdich that was doing pretty well.
No, it wasn't Murdich.
Cousins.
Kylan Robinson.
Kylan Robinson.
Kylan Robinson. That young man, just some of the catches he got.
Incredible.
Insane.
Yeah, he had some really good stuff.
Insane.
Yeah, it was a good fight by Ezel Harding, but came up short at least because the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights start at their season 3-0. So congratulations to them. And as mentioned, tough matchup in Ottawa this Saturday against Grace Baptist. And as for Ezel Harding, they have their second to last, or actually third to last divisional matchup in a string of 3 games in the TSIAA North against the Franklin Classical School Knights.
And Lancastered in the second half. I mean, Deuce Bragg did his thing. Lane Spurlock, Devin Hargrove, Elijah Moore. Those guys stepped. I was looking forward to possibly recognizing Lane Spurlock as player of the game, Core Power player of the game. We'll explain in a little bit what happened with that, and it's a really, really crappy situation that shouldn't have happened. But you know what? We were able to recognize another kid who laid it all on the line, Melvin Cousins. And, so no disrespect to Lane or any of those guys who could potentially won player of the game. Of course, that would have been Coach's pick, but that was my prediction to who should have been player of the game.
3 players I do want to highlight specifically. Reese Chloe's really stepped up in some of the receptions he had in the corner in the end zone and everything. He also had some defense plays. How about Michael Westmoreland? The several tackles that he had on the defense side. I can't remember if he got a sack or 2 in there, but Michael Westmoreland had some either touchdown-saving tackles.
You called his name several times.
Oh yeah, it was a lot there. And the other one, I'm surprised you didn't mention him, Ryan Arrington. I know that he had a few PATs that were missed.
He had a Greg Zerline kind of night.
Yeah. I mean, he had a few PATs missed, but anytime he was on the kickoff, the onside kicks, they were almost perfectly placed. They just couldn't capitalize on it. He had amazing touchbacks that happened whenever they needed to boot it deep. But for Ryan Arrington, he had sort of a recovery after missing those 2 PATs. Got 2 straight. So
who
shout out
is
to
the
him.
kicker for Ezel Harding? Because the onside they executed after halftime was just phenomenal, and they did get the ball. Okay, so let me go back. So Lancaster scored. Ezel Harding was knocking on the door at the end of the first half. Weren't able to score, and they were not supposed to get the ball coming out of halftime. They execute this onside kick, and I'm trying to see if they've got their kicker notated, because I do not remember honestly who it was. Okay, so regardless, perfectly, that kickoff team, it takes more than the kicker. The kicker has to have a good kick, but that kickoff team perfectly executed that onside kick, took the ball, went down and scored, and it was 20-18. And they just could not get the 2-point conversion. But
I want to say it was Elijah Donnell who was their kicker.
It might have been.
It was I think 20 was the number I remember who was kicking the ball, which is the freshman.
But Arrington, I mean, how about Arrington going down? He got the diving catch for a touchdown, ran to the sidelines, grabbed his kicking block, ran back out, kicked the extra point, which was good. Then he comes back to the sideline, grabs his kickoff tee, goes down, kicks the ball off.
Yeah.
Young man putting in work.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Oh, yeah. But, again, congratulations to Lancaster Christian. as they have a divisional matchup next weekend, and Ezel Harding, they have a divisional matchup next weekend, and Coach McGee will be back. That'll really help them with their matchup against Franklin Classical School. All right, well, I believe it's now our segment of the show where we get the coaches interview.
Sir, I'm very disappointed.
Why is that?
You are neglecting one more game.
Which game am I neglecting?
Tennessee School for the Deaf, Carolina Wildcats on Thursday.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Forgot that. I
apologize.
Apologize to the Vikings. Just forgot about that.
How dare you disrespect?
Yeah, I know what it was.
Rocky Top.
Yeah, I know what it was.
No,
I usually get my scores from the Instagram page, which it's there. I just
there.
looked and I didn't see this single one. Okay.
It was a rough outing for Tennessee School for the Deaf.
Yep, 68-6.
Wildcats rolled in. They've had a great season so far and just really dominated and performed at a high level, able to jump out on the Vikings. So,
do we know who got the one score for the Vikings? Do we have any statistics on that?
Let me see if I can get the information on that.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's on Max Preps. Let's see.
I'll do a search. I'll do a search just to verify.
I'm looking at it as well because I do want to give that young man a shout out.
Yeah. Let's see. Schools here.
I've got School for the Deaf pulled up here. I don't know that they put their stats on Max Preps. We did not have any stats sent to us. There are no stats on there.
All right, so we don't know who scored the one touchdown. Hopefully, we'll get to highlight him if we get that information later on in the show. But at least for the Vikings, tough loss for them against the Wildcats on Thursday. They have a bye week before they travel on September 23rd, a Thursday matchup to collide with the Lighthouse Christian School Lions.
I know we don't cover the Wildcats on a regular basis. A little bit about them. They are from South Carolina. They are an independent team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there's stats on there. Carolina does have stats on Max Preps, but they rolled in 1-0. They beat West Oak out of South Carolina 2 weeks ago, actually. So they were the week before. So they are 2-0. They're going to play several teams in South Carolina. They do play Freedom on October 22nd at Freedom. So that should be an interesting game. But I believe they're an independent team, if I'm not mistaken, which means if they're able to put together a good season, they are independent. There's an argument to be made for them going to Florida.
Ooh.
I think. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes down. Okay, so now all the scores have been covered. So week 5 in the books. Okay.
They are currently ranked.
Oh, you're looking at the latest national rankings.
I know we'll cover the rankings in a second.
Mm-hmm.
They are not on the rankings. Anyways.
All right, well, that's a portion of the show where I think it's time to call our coach, isn't it, James? Well, hear the dial there, and for at least those of you that look at the video description on YouTube, maybe you do, maybe you don't, who knows? But we're getting the ringtone sound here as we welcome in the head coach for the Evangel Christian School Lightning in Tim Smith. Coach,
let's make sure you can hear us.
Let's hope so.
Can you hear us, Coach? Are you there?
Tell you, it helps. That helps when we have the chance to test this stuff out.
Hello. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Let's try swapping to these.
Move it there.
Coach, can you hear us? Well, might need to have the cable swapped around.
Coach, are you there? You there? Hang on. Let's
try swapping around those cables.
Well, no, because we could hear him a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, are you there?
Well, anyways, while James is trying to get this set up, it's the Evangel Christian School Lightning head coach Tim Smith, who's generously given us his time on his busy Sunday to interact here with us on the show, and hopefully we'll get his thoughts on this weekend and everything in just a few moments. Hopefully get that as soon as this gets configured. as we already mentioned, the
Let's see if that worked. Are you there?
Hello?
Nope. Can you hear us? It is. Oh, hang on. Can you hear us, Coach? Nope, lost him completely there. Coach, you there? Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
maybe
All
try
right.
swapping. Maybe try swapping to this other input. Maybe
Yep,
it's on
let's
this.
try
side.
the other
Maybe-
input.
Maybe it's on one of those sides. Any word from you, Coach?
We'll get it there. We'll get it sorted out in just a second. Coach, can you hear us? Live radio. Got to love it.
All a work in progress.
We had to fix the other.
It's
other
been a
week?
few weeks. He's probably listening
he's
back to the
listening to the
show.
show.
Yeah. Well, at least
How about
at least
now,
we know he's
Coach?
listening.
Okay. How about now, Coach?
Yeah,
All right, we'll call him back in just a second. Let's make one more phone call to try something. This is what we have a producer for. Let's test it on this end.
Well,
Hello?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
yes. Okay. There's
Okay.
That's producer
So
Audrey
that
Green. So
works.
now it works. Let's just hope it connects with Coach Smith. Coach, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Let's try it one more time.
Maybe it just needs to be redialed.
Hello?
Hey, Coach, can you hear us?
Nope, guess not.
Well, we can hear him for
Hello?
a second. Hey, Coach, you there?
Let's Hey, can you hear us?
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, it might
We're
be
trying
something with
through the phone. The phone setup we have, it worked with another number. Now let me plug it in real quick. How about now, Coach?
I got you.
There
we
it
go.
is. Okay. Live radio. Let's
Hey,
clap.
live
everything,
radio.
yeah. Live radio. Well, we welcome in the head coach officially for the Evangel Christian School Lightning and Coach Tim Smith. And, Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the show earlier.
Make a note. We just need to unplug.
Yeah, just do
plug it
live.
back in.
Yeah, it's very
It always works
simple.
like that.
Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to listen. We had Coach Wilson on about a month ago, and he told the story during the national championship about the something about pointing to the national championship ring. I just want to give you an opportunity. Is that
Now,
true?
full disclosure, I did already talk to Coach about this in Gatlinburg.
Yeah, I know you
so-
talked to him, but just for our viewing audience, is that true? What was your perspective on that story?
Yeah, I know. I think Hunter made some of that up. I know they had scored and went up 13-0, and me and Hagen and I were standing there laughing. I walked over to him, and honestly, what I said, they're about to kick us again.
See,
And
and that's why you get the other perspective.
Exactly.
That's right. Hunter said we're over there laughing, and he tells his coaches we're in so much trouble. They're laughing.
And then Tim's over there going, they're about to whoop us again.
Goodness.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's three sides to every story. In this case, there was Coach Wilson's side, Coach Smith's side, and it's our job to figure out what actually happened. And I think what actually happened is both sides were just laughing it off and pushing through the game. So, but
Yeah.
But Coach, Coach, obviously a good win against North River Christian, and you were looking forward to playing the Southern Christian Patriots last week, and they had to drop their match due to coronavirus protocols. But what were your thoughts on that bounce back win after the tough loss to Grace Baptist 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was good for our kids just to get back on the field and play. And I've got to say this, and I know James talked about it a little while ago, is Coach Charlie Dare at North River. I talked to him Wednesday, and because we'd been canceled the week before because of COVID, And I just touched base with him, and he said, Coach, we're coming. It don't matter. We're coming to play. He got there Friday, and that's when I found out he had 13 junior high players, 5 varsity players, 7 kids out on COVID. And I just respect him so much for coming and giving us a game. And to be honest, we're like every other small school. We need the gate. And we just lost the home game the week before. So the gate was big. Getting on the field, just playing again was big. The crowd was great. And it was good. We got to play. They got to play. He played some young kids, and so did we. So it was a good night.
You got anything, James?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, Coach, obviously, good win for you guys and everything. And going through this season, you always mentioned the major thought we always get whenever we talk to coaches, whether it's on the air or off the air, is it's always about a good win for the team, good win for the players, and especially from the conversations that we have. You always put an emphasis on highlighting your players and the guys who really step up and perform. So, through the season so far, who are some of the players that you're really proud of for stepping up and leading the team?
Yeah, well, for us, it starts back there at quarterback with number 8, and he didn't play his best game against Grace, and Grace had a lot to do with that. They're one of the better 8-man teams that we've seen since I've been here. Very well coached. They had a great game plan, and Eli's confidence was shook a little bit, and so we needed him to jump back out there this past week, and he did. Had a good night. Our offensive line is getting better every Friday night. Defensive wise, we struggled a little bit at the corners. We've basically thrown 2 sophomores out there and thrown them in the fire, and every now and then when you throw them in the fire, you get burned. But they're getting better every week, and that's what we want. So yeah, it's been a good year. We got Dylan Weathers at middle linebacker, who's come back for his senior year. Big Everson Jones at nose guard at 280 pounds. He's a little banged up right now. We're not sure if he'll go Friday night or not. We're just having to go day to day with him. And our running back, Tyler Wilson, who we call Muffin, by the way.
I picked that up.
Yeah, very seldom do I say Tyler. If I do, I go, who are y'all talking? So he got hurt, the second time he ran the ball against Grace, and he's been out since. So we're hoping that maybe at the end of the week he can run a little bit, or hopefully the next week.
So those stats I've mentioned, those are actually the averages through the season. So FYI, they're not the stats from Friday night.
Okay. Yep. Perfect on that.
I heard that when you said Caleb Lumpkin had 13 pancakes. I was like, no, he didn't play 13 plays.
Oh, it happens. It happens.
Well, Coach, you mentioned that it was a good win for your players and such this past Friday, and of course you have 4 wins so far through 5 weeks, and next weekend. You guys always find a way. Every year, you guys collide with the Freedom Cowboys, Coach Kyle Collins and company, and it seems that any time, regardless of what team really plays the Freedom Cowboys, there's always at least some competitiveness on both sides, where it's very much fighting through, whether it's through the first half or through the third quarter. It's always tough and it's always competitive. So what are your thoughts on facing off against Coach Kyle Collins and currently the undefeated Freedom Cowboys in Huntsville?
They're always well coached. Kyle does a great job. He and Kevin Goatman, who's the defensive coordinator, and they do a great job. We've had a great series with them. I think Hagan and I was talking one day that I believe we've been behind at halftime against Freedom almost every time we play them, and we have to find a way to come back. And our kids have always battled back. But this is the best team they've had that I can remember. They're very solid offensively, but what's really impressed us has been their defense while we broke down film this weekend. They're very good defensively. But, Kevin and I, we have something in common. Or Kyle and I have something in common.
What's that?
Well, we both Auburn guys. We wouldn't dare wear that. We wouldn't dare wear that orange hat with a T on it right there. You got.
Yeah, but you also wouldn't dare wear that.
Don't even say that name.
The ugly red hat. Okay.
We do agree on that.
Listen. We are on the same team when it comes to that. We don't have to play each other very often, so let's just stay on the same team, and we're good.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So there you go.
All right, Coach. Well,
I did want
give
to
you.
I did want to ask. So last year when you guys played Ezekiel, obviously they got you, but then you got another crack at them, and it happened to be in Florida in the national championship, and you guys got to beat them. You got to revenge the loss early in the year. You got to defend your title. Let's say hypothetically, you guys get a chance to meet Grace in Florida for the national title. What are you telling your guys going into that game? Where is the focus? Where's the focus that you're putting on in that game?
Well, anytime you get to play for a title, it's big. And, we didn't get to play for the ACSC championship last year, which we believe is the best conference. I mean, we do. With us, Lighthouse, Ezekiel, and now East Central and
Listen, just because y'all have won the national title 3 years in a row does not mean. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That's a very solid conference.
It is. It's every Friday night you got to be prepared. But I would be sitting here lying if I told you it didn't matter to us. Would we like another shot at Grace? Absolutely.
For
Not
sure.
saying we could beat them, but we would love to be able to make it to Panama City. But our next 4 weeks are Freedom, Lighthouse, Ezekiel, and the Tennessee Heat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough stretch.
It's a tough road.
Mm-hmm.
And you play 3 of those 4 on the road, I believe.
We do. We have to go to Ezekiel. We have to travel up to Tennessee. I'm coming up that road you always talk about. It's nothing good yet.
It's a beautiful road on the northbound sound.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. At least you guys have a bye week in between Ezekiel and the Tennessee Heat to give your players some rest in that regard. But yeah, it's for you guys three out of 4 games are on the road. That's going to be a tough set of matchups for the Lightning.
And the bye week not only helps them rest before the game against the Heat, but then from there they've got to roll straight into potentially playing for the state championship.
Well, they play East Central home school on October 22nd.
East Central, and then roll straight into potentially playing for the state, and then they've got to possibly roll in and get ready for Florida. So I mean that bye week is big, right where it's sitting.
It really is. We're a little banged up now, to be honest. I did something when Southern Christian canceled on us because of COVID. We decided that Thursday to split the team up and have a Navy and white game.
Right.
I got 3 players hurt in the Navy white game.
Oh, goodness.
So we're not going to hit anybody anymore at practice. Anyway. We're going to hit dummies and shields and try to save it for Friday.
Oh, so coming out of the bye, they play Heat, East Central, and Southern Prep.
Yep, and then that goes straight into potentially the state championship.
Yep. Coach, how bad do you want a 14 playoff for the ACSC?
Yeah, we will. We'll do that next year.
Okay.
We didn't know for sure Southern Christian was coming in this year.
Right.
If we would have known that, Mike Long, who is our conference commissioner, when we had our meeting this summer, we had talked about it, but most of us had our schedule put together.
Right.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to going back to the playoffs. We really are. That's a lot of fun for the kids.
With the way that the teams that are in the ACSC, it's mostly homeschool teams. And I know that North River is an actual school, I believe, but they do have some homeschoolers. Along with them, who are some other teams? I don't know if you have your pulse on the conference or conference happenings, but who are some other teams that could potentially jump into the conference with you guys going to a playoff?
Yeah, we've talked to Freedom about coming into our conference, but it's Huntsville to where Southern Christian's at in Opelika. Huntsville to Opelika is a pretty good ride.
Right.
And neither one of them really want to bite that one off yet. But it's for us to grow, we're going to have some teams come in that we're all willing to travel. I mean, it's like I told somebody, we're willing to travel. I mean, I'm coming to Tennessee here in just a few short weeks. So to me, it doesn't matter. We'll get on the bus and go play.
Now, Coach, off of that, since you're going to be doing the 14 playoff next year, will the semifinals be scheduled? Is it still going to have the season finishing on that first weekend in November?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We want all of us love if we qualify to go to Panama City, we all want to go. I mean, it's a great trip. Our parents love it as much as our kids do. They really do. It's a great time.
Yeah, Huntsville to Opelika, as you mentioned, about 3 hours and 30 minutes just driving distance. So you're right. It's a little bit of a drive down there.
It's like if you would be going for it's like at the end of the year, Tennessee School for the Deaf has to play Jackson, and you think, oh well, they're both in Tennessee. Well, you're going East Tennessee to West Tennessee. So Knoxville to Nashville, it's 2.5 hours, maybe 3, and then you still got to drive to Jackson. So I mean, it's Alabama long ways is just as bad as Tennessee side to side.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, I think I looked it up, and it's 3 hours and 41 minutes to Charlie Daniels Stadium when we played the Heat.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Because I think it took us 3. I think it took me 3.5 from Nashville. So not just outside of Nashville. Be a good little road trip for you there.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it. It don't bother us. We'll get on that charter bus and ride.
There you go. There you go.
That'll be fun. So
Hey, and we're gonna stop and eat somewhere good. That's always I may be calling y'all to tell me, where do I need to eat at around 3:00 in Tennessee.
you got any suggestions for that area?
It depends on. So Mount Juliet.
Well, here's the better question: what kind of category, out of your guys and your team, what category of food do you enjoy the most?
Nothing is going to compare to the Cajun food we got in Florida. Nothing's going to
well,
compare to
yes.
that. And if that's the standard, everything else is going to fall short.
that
Just
is true.
saying.
Yeah, look, he's good.
He's very good.
I hope he's coming back to Florida
he is
in
fat
2
boy
months.
Approved.
Yeah. Well, he's already planned everything for Florida. He's going
Yes. Yeah. Well, not just that. No, Audrey and Matthew are off camera right now. Brendan isn't here right now. They have no clue what they're in store
just
for
put
in
on
Florida.
10 pounds when you said he's already planning.
I've lost almost 40 over the last year. I'm gonna gain 10
20
more.
Of them back.
Yeah.
Hey, he cooked for 3 days. Y'all know, y'all smelled it. Y'all helped.
I smelled it.
Yeah, I think
somebody. Who was with y'all that had never had a barbecue rib?
Was it Zachary?
It was Zach, I think.
I think Zachary. Yeah.
Who's never had a barbecue rib?
Have you had a barbecue rib before? Have you had a barbecue rib?
Audrey has not had a
Audrey's never
barbecue
had a
rib.
barbecue
We
rib.
found another person, so she is in for a treat when we get down to
I
Florida.
don't know how we find these people that haven't had barbecue ribs before, but
Is that a Tennessee thing? Because in Alabama,
wow,
Might be a
that
Tennessee
stung.
thing.
That stung.
But no, Coach. I guess if you guys are coming up to Tennessee, I guess what's the general category of food your team likes? You guys like fried chicken or hamburgers or stuff like that?
Are you talking pregame meal?
Yeah, either pregame or postgame. Well, you're talking about stopping somewhere to eat. So I guess whichever would work for that.
Pregame meal, they're probably gonna get something like grilled chicken, green beans, a roll. Now the coaches, we're gonna eat.
Well, I can give you a personal recommendation that's on the way up there.
Where are you going to say?
There's a place called Bishop's Meat and 3 that's in Franklin, off of I-65. When did you have Bishop's Meat and 3? I didn't. I couldn't remember when's the last time.
I travel everywhere for work.
That's true. Yeah, no, there's Bishop's Meat and 3. They got grilled chicken, especially since you guys are traveling up on a Friday. They got grilled chicken. For the coaches, try the carrot souffle. Try the carrot souffle.
What is the souffle?
What did you say? The carrot?
Carrot souffle.
That's what I was asking.
Okay. Carrot souffle.
I know what carrots are. What is a souffle?
It's like mashed sweet potatoes, but better.
What?
Yes.
Who eats mashed sweet potatoes?
What are you talking about? Let me guess. It's a Tennessee thing or something. They're good. I promise you, they're good.
What's a Tennessee thing?
Mashed
sweet potatoes?
Mashed sweet potatoes.
No, that's not it. Mashed potatoes.
Man.
Look, we coming from Alabama. We looking for a meat and 3, brother.
Yeah, no, they got more than just that on the sides. They got mac and cheese, green beans, mashed potatoes, and gravy, all that kind of stuff. So they've got options. I just suggest the carrot souffle because it is incredible. That's one of the many great things they have.
Souffle is mashed sweet potatoes.
I'm saying what it's compared to. Souffle, it's mashed carrots with
it's carrot.
Okay,
so it's mashed carrots.
Mashed carrots with cinnamon sugar and melted marshmallow.
How did we get on souffle?
I think it's just when we have these.
We travel everywhere. Yeah. We talk about everything.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. We go from John Madden to Gordon Ramsay. Just
it's raw.
There you go.
I did too. Yeah. Do y'all have fun?
What? I'm sorry. What was that? What was that, Coach?
Do y'all have Firehouse subs?
We do.
You don't
Do y'all
want
have Firehouse subs?
Yes, we do.
Come on, Firehouse.
Well, I don't want it for them. I want it for me.
There's one right off exit 67 on 65. I'm sure there's one in Mount Juliet as well around that area. But yeah, Firehouse. Yeah, Firehouse is pretty good.
I'm not even gonna
I
go
heard
there.
y'all talking about that one day, and all the sandwich places y'all like.
I'm not
Firehouse is going to be in the top 2.
Firehouse is not in my top 2.
I forget who it
At
was
all.
who said that. I think it was. Oh yeah, that's right. Because we talked
think it's
about that at one
Brendan.
point. Yeah, it may
My
have been
top
Brendan
2
or
are
something.
Subway and Jimmy John's.
How
Well,
do I-
look, I'm going to tell you this. I've got a Subway story, but I can't tell it to you on the air. I'll tell it to you.
Oh.
Here's what I'm disappointed about. I've still not gotten to go to a Milo's restaurant in Birmingham.
And you
Do
won't.
you know how close you were when you was at Evangel?
Do what?
You know how close a Milo's is to Evangel?
And we were in a hurry to get down there, and then we left at 10:30.
Something
and
like
it was
that.
closed. I'm still trying to get down there.
You know what we need to do for because I know we're going to make our trip down to a Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors game. Let's plan a pregame meal at Milo's restaurant. I'm sure there's one near there.
You
In
got French fries, man. And you got to get the French fries and get an extra dip sauce and dip your fries in the sauce.
ooh.
We got it. We have to go to. We're going to Lighthouse. We're going to Southern Prep. We're going to Ezekiel.
So we got three chances.
So we got 3 shots at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
You'll pass a few Milos on the way.
All right.
Oh,
well, sounds
yeah.
good.
pass a few. But all right, Coach. Well, about a month ago or a month and a half ago, we had Coach Wilson on the show, and he coined the term Stephen A. Shannon. So that's given us our segue to give each of the coaches we interview a chance to give their hot take or anything that is on their mind from around the coaching scene or anything like that. So if you choose Coach Smith, this is your chance to give your coach's hot take.
A hot take. Man, we just talked about food, and you want to talk about hot take. My hot take is my wife's got roast beef in there. When I leave this interview, I'm going to eat.
Oh.
Coach, we're going to turn you loose and then let you go get you. Here's my hot take. Jax is trash. Just going to say that.
Well, I will add one thing. Before I come in here, I was watching. I'm a Dolphin fan, and I was watching the Dolphins and the Patriots. So here's my hot take. In the NFL, put flags on the quarterback because I saw the worst call I ever saw a while ago.
I
You can't hit
completely
the quarterback
agree.
in the legs. You can't hit him in the chest. Just touch him and let's call him down.
100%. 100% agree with that.
It cost the Dolphins a touchdown too. So I was actually.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard earlier, but James and I are having a rough day in NFL fantasy football. It's I know the feeling. I know the feeling of the frustrations and everything. But
I hope
Coach-
nobody has Tua.
somebody
No.
in my league does, not me.
No,
but,
I've just got Aaron Rodgers, and he's absolutely just.
yeah, my
They were getting shut out a while ago.
yeah. I think they
They got a field goal. Yay!
New Orleans 17, Green Bay 3. My opponent had Kyler Murray, so yeah, that was fun.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers kicked that field goal, so it's really not going to
I know. Coach, we're going to turn you loose.
Yeah.
Let you go eat that
Yeah,
barbecue.
appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday to spend it with us. Best of luck to you against the Freedom Cowboys, and I know we're going to see you guys at some point either in the season or more than likely down in Florida.
For sure.
Okay, guys. Thank y'all.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
Appreciate
Coach.
you, Coach.
All right. Bye.
All right, we'll see you.
Man, he took time out of his Sunday for roast beef that his wife made, man.
Oh, I said barbecue was
Or is
supposed to be.
yeah, is it roast beef? Man,
Complete brain.
we
just
kept him on a little bit too long, but okay.
always fun talking.
Oh
to
yeah,
Coach.
yeah. Talking to him, Coach Wilson. I love having those just like friendly, fun conversations with Coach. We'll have to ask him about that Subway story in Florida. We'll have to figure out what he means by that one. But yeah, it's always fun to talk to Coach Smith. And
Before we launch into predictions, Spence.
I was going to launch into bracketology actually.
Oh, well, go ahead and hit the bracketology.
All right, so the bracket is not on the screen yet because, again, next week after the results of that, because it's a lot of divisional matchups, that's where we'll start showing the brackets on screen for both the ACSC and the TSIAA.
Well, it's not much of a bracket because they just.
Yeah, we'll show the seeding scenarios and
That's
that kind of
fair.
stuff.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
as of this week, there are only 2 matchups that affected everything. So in the TSIAA North, same exact thing as last week. South Haven currently holds the number 1 seed at 2-0. It's a coin flip for the 2 and 3 seed between Christian Community and Ezel Harding at 1-0. There's the coin or the pop socket. So in between Christian Community and Ezel Harding, 2 and 3 seed. In Division II, it's a coin flip again between Lighthouse and Franklin Classical because they are both 0-2. So for whoever gets the higher seeding in that regard. In the South, it is a 3-way coin toss. 2 and then 3 there. It's
me doing this is nonsensical, just like having a coin toss.
Between Grace Baptist, Lancaster Christian, and Franklin Christian. That's because they are all 1-0 in their division record. Again, next week is where the playoff bracket really starts to shape. And as for Division II,
you said Lancaster, Franklin Christian,
and Grace Baptist.
Okay, none of them have played each other, so
no, not at this point.
Okay.
In Division II, Providence, just by virtue of more wins than Zion, they would be the number 1 seed in Division II. And Zion, as far as we are aware, they are heading to Division II. And the other question that we have that I'll see if I can get an answer on it this week, the games that you play against Zion Christian, does that contribute towards your playoff seeding, Division I and Division II? I'll see if I can get an answer to that question later this week. We might not, and we don't know if Zion Christian is eligible for Division I. We were told just Division II, so we'll see if we can figure out the scenarios on that as we get closer and closer to the middle of October, where the playoffs will start. The ACSC, the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, if the season ends today, it would be Lighthouse and Evangel in the championship because Lighthouse is 2-0, Evangel is 1-0, and Ezekiel Academy is 0-1, at least of the 3 teams we cover. And I believe the other 2 teams in the ACSC do not have the records to get them into the championship at this point. So at least for the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, 2-0, the Evangel Christian School Lightning, 1-0. So those are the teams that would get into the championship. So before we get into predictions,
I do want to do a callback. We were discussing the Tennessee School for the Deaf game, and I did just get information, the number of who scored the touchdown for TSD, and I want to give that young man a shout out. If I can get their roster loaded, it is. I believe I know who it is. I believe it's Rye Carlion. They don't have numbers on their TSD roster. Let me see if I can pull up our other roster that we keep. I believe it was Rye Carlion.
Okay.
Who had the kickoff return. I know that's who was number 2 previously, but I want to verify it. But you can keep going. I'm going to verify this.
He's going to verify it. We'll do a call back a little bit later in the show. But as we mentioned, Week 5 officially in the books. Follow along on your helmet schedules from top to bottom. It's time for Week 6 in the teams we cover in the Southeast for 8-man football. We start from the top with the divisional matchup between the Christian Community School Colts and the South Haven Christian School Patriots.
That's not what I thought you were going to do. I thought we were going to discuss NHSA rankings.
Okay. Flip the script a little bit as he's looking on that. So no predictions yet. We'll talk about the latest rankings from the NHSA updated as of today. They're posted on their Facebook page. All right, Grace Baptist Academy stays at the number 1 rank. Evangel, with their win on Friday night, moves up to number 2, or they stay in that ranking. Lancaster Christian is number 3 at 3-0 with their win. Franklin Christian, it says 2-1 on their schedule, which I believe that that is correct after the win against Zion Christian. They're 2-1. The Freedom Cowboys are at number 5 at 5-0. They moved up a few spots there. The Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors are 6 at 3-1. South Haven Christian at 5-0. They're 7. They're not close to the same ranking.
They
as
at least
Freedom
moved
Cowboys.
into the top 10.
Yep, they're in the top 10. Ezekiel Academy stays in the top 10 at 8, even with that close loss to the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. Russell Christian Academy is at 2-0 currently on the record. They're still at the 9 spot. The Colts are at number 10, even with their loss to Grace Baptist.
To be fair, it's a loss to Grace Baptist.
They're the number 1 seed.
The number 1 seed.
They went from 6 to 10, so they did drop several rankings on that from their contest on Friday night. Providence Christian at 2-2, and looking at least of the teams we cover, Southern Prep is at 14. The Tennessee Heat went down to 16.
So Providence, their 2 wins were against
Lancaster.
Wins. Franklin
Classical
They beat Franklin Classical and Zion. CCS's 2 wins were Classical and Heat. Heat beat Zion. So that puts Heat over Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that does make sense.
Yep. Makes sense in that regard. Heat at 16. At least out of the rest of the teams we cover, Sacred Heart is at 25. Ezel Harding down at 26. Unfortunate for that sudden drop-off. The Pack Panthers, we don't cover them, but just to mention, the Pack Panthers are at 30. Franklin Classical at 32. Lighthouse Christian at Antioch is 33. And Zion Christian 37. So at least those are at least out of the teams we cover in the NHSA rankings. I think that top 4 right now is fair. I'm surprised that the Freedom Cowboys aren't in the top 4 at this point, especially with them being 5-0 and having the dominance of wins that they've had so far. I think if they beat Evangel on Friday, there definitely has to be a high, at least in the top 4 for the Freedom Cowboys have to go there.
Let's see. Freedom's wins.
They beat Lighthouse in the first week.
Who's winless? Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. That's a solid win.
Christian
they
Community.
Beat CCS, who's struggling.
They beat Ezekiel.
Who's struggling, and they beat East Central, who's struggling. So it's a 5-0. And to be fair, these teams only look like they're struggling because Freedom was able to go in and beat them, and so that's you got to take that into account.
Yep.
So I mean, they are 5-0, but coming up, I mean, they have Evangel for Freedom, and that's a big one.
Yeah, I think if Freedom beats Evangel, they're going to make it into the top 4.
You also, on Saturday, have number 3 versus number 1.
Yep, Lancaster and Grace.
Yeah,
so I think this weekend that's going to shake up the top 5 in some
100%.
regards. Either shake
Lighthouse
it up or the teams stay in the same position that they were.
Lighthouse Homeschool has Trinity coming up, which they've struggled, I believe. Are they even on the rankings? I don't think. Yes,
Trinity?
They
Trinity
are.
Christian is 36.
They're 0-2.
Yep, they're 36.
So a win by Lighthouse will probably keep them in the top 10. South Haven, a game against CCS at number 10. If South Haven wins, I would think that would bump them up. So if Lancaster loses Saturday, I do think they maybe fall to 9 or 10, maybe.
Something like that.
We'll have to see.
Depends on how that shapes out, because Grace Baptist could.
But do want to touch base on the standings.
Yep.
Just to keep up. And Grace is 5-0, I think. No, they're 4. They're 4. They're 4-0. Bradley. Bradley.
No, they're 5-0. Bradley, Ezel Harding, Evangel, Providence, and Christian Community.
That's right.
So they're 5-0 right now.
That's right.
Chance for them to go 6-0 on Saturday night against Lancaster Christian, number 1 and number 3 seed. That is gonna be a good matchup, and it's time, James. It's time for the honored tradition of James making or breaking his regular season predictions. What's the record at right now, James?
I haven't.
You haven't even bothered with that?
I haven't looked, to be honest. I know I've been down a little bit this year.
I'm telling you, man, you got to start going back to practices over the summer, because the last 2 years you haven't had a chance to do that.
I would absolutely love to.
Yeah, haven't had a chance to do that. Maybe you can.
Pardon me.
Maybe you can handle that in 2022. But Week 5 in the books. Week 6, follow along on your helmet schedules from top to bottom. We start with a divisional matchup between the Christian Community School Colts and the South Haven Christian School Patriots. South Haven team that has not taken a loss at this point, number 7 in the nation at a record right now of 5-0, and it's number 7 versus number 10 on the current NHSA rankings. So that matchup in White House could also very well determine, that could punch South Haven's ticket to clinch the number 1 seed, or it could shake things up for CCS for them to potentially solidify their place as the number 1 seed. So, James, the Patriots collide with the Colts in what's been a spirited rivalry since South Haven joined the conference in 2017. You got to pick one team or the other.
This game always has a little bit special meaning to me. Of course, got a chance to play at CCS. Grew up doing a lot of stuff in White House, going to church there. Grew up in Springfield. Know a lot of people. I know a lot of people on both sides of this game, and it always means a lot. But listen, I'm gonna be honest. South Haven win against Zion has struggled. Lighthouse, who struggled. Classical, who struggled. TSD, who struggled. Sacred Heart, it was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. They had to make some adjustments to win. CCS has played some real buzzsaws, Grace and Freedom, two really good teams. And then they play Classical and Heat, they're able to get the win. So, they're right there about that 500 mark. South Haven, yes, they're 5-0, but it's a deceptive 5-0. And with the game being at CCS, I think all these things factor in, and I think Colts come out of it with the dub.
You got the Colts. Brendan chose South Haven.
All right.
He's taking
Fair
the Patriots to take the victory on this one. All right, we continue down the helmet schedule. The Evangel Christian School Lightning at the Freedom Cowboys. Number 2 versus number 5. This is going to be one of the matchups that could make or break if the team gets into the top 4, at least for the next week. But, it's going to be a good matchup. And I'm glad that it's one of the contests that we can view, even if we're calling a game on
Shout
Friday.
out
that
to
we
Evangel.
to Evangel doing the video stream and everything. I mean, we could.
I'm sorry. It is the broadcast. They put effort into the commentary, the video, the audio. It is a broadcast. It is not a live stream.
Yep.
Live stream is camera, internet, boom. Broadcast is what we do. It's what Evangel does. It's actually putting effort into it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. But for the Freedom Cowboys, especially with them down in Huntsville, the Evangel Lightning, it's gonna be a close game, especially with. Remember, I was talking with one of the coaches who's going to be facing Evangel later in the year. He mentioned, I don't really want to play Tim Smith as it gets down in the season because he's looking for a vengeance. That's the case here. Is that Tim Smith has a win off his belt. The players are looking for a vengeance, but at the end of the day, James, do you take Kyle Collins on this one? Does he just have the depth and the personnel to get it done, or does Tim Smith show how good he is as a coach and go 2-0 across 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think it has to do with picking Kyle Collins or Tim Smith.
Sure.
I think it has to do with picking these teams. When you look at the teams, Freedom is stacked. Freedom is loaded. They are good to go. By the way, on the pick'em, supposedly I am 13-17, and I'm 10 games behind. So let's see what happens. But Freedom is stacked, and that's why I've got the Cowboys winning Friday night.
You got the Freedom Cowboys. Brendan
Freedom.
has the Freedom Cowboys winning as well.
I'm glad he could agree with me.
We continue along the.
I'm glad he could agree with me, and I'm glad anybody else who does a pick him can agree with me. Because when you pick after me, you agree with me. I don't agree with you if I pick before you.
He technically sent me these yesterday, so he picked him before you. Well, actually, no, that's not true.
No, he didn't.
Preseason.
There
it is. The Ezekiel Academy Knights collide with East Central Homeschool, the Patriots of Alabama. This Friday, Ezekiel Academy, tough loss against the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, looking to turn it around. And can they get the job done on Friday, James?
Man. Just scratching back there. I believe in the ability of Melvin Cousins to get this offense up and rolling. And I know Classical had the last week off. Classical has struggled. They've been trying to get it all together. But especially with Coach McGee back, the way Kylon Robinson played, James Hyman, these guys for Ezel Harding that would not stop playing last night against Lancaster. Honestly, I think Classical rolls out of Antioch with another loss. And I've got
Classical?
the Eagles winning.
Classical?
I've got Ezel Harding Classical.
No, I was asking about Ezekiel Academy and East Central Homeschool.
Oh. Well, I misheard you.
Okay, so you got Classical taking the victory over Ezel Harding. Okay, fine. That's fine. We'll get over that.
Ezekiel.
Yeah, I said Ezekiel and East Central Homeschool.
Oh, Ezekiel.
All right, you got Ezekiel on that?
Ezekiel's going to handle business.
Brendan has got Ezekiel Academy, and Brendan has also got Ezel Harding taking the win against Franklin Classical.
Both of those.
All right, so you both.
My apologies. I just launched into a whole promo for the wrong game.
You got any other things you want to talk about with Ezekiel and East Central?
Nope. I think Coach Hunter and Ezekiel, I think they're ready to get the ball rolling again. And East Central is a team that has struggled this season against several of the teams that we cover, Freedom, Lighthouse Homeschool. So I think they handle business.
All right, and we continue along. We mentioned classical and everything. All right, the Lighthouse Christian School Lions have a home game against the Zion Christian Academy Eagles. Both teams, of course, with Lighthouse, are coming off of a bye week, but for Zion, a tough loss against Franklin Christian. And you mentioned it earlier, one of these teams is going to exit out of Antioch with a win. Either Lighthouse is going to head home within the area of their homes and their families, and they're going to rest easy with a win, or Zion Christian will head back to Columbia with their first win in 8-man football history. So
I love what Jaron Kaiser and Max Brown bring to the table for Zion, and I think Zion's going to put up a fight on Friday night. But I'm going to give you one person that's going to make or break that game Friday night, and that's Christian Sharp. I think Christian Sharp goes off, and I think they just absolutely take control of that game and win.
Brendan disagrees. He's got Zion Christian with the win. So, all right, let's continue along in the picks here. The Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors host Trinity. So, James, with this matchup, who you got?
Lighthouse.
You got the Lighthouse
No
with the
question.
win? All right.
The win against Ezekiel the other night, it's a solid win. You got to give Lighthouse the dub.
Brendan agrees with you, says the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors will get it done. All right, and we also go to Southern Prep Academy. They host they travel to Stewart County for their matchup on Friday. Who you got in this one?
Southern Prep hasn't been able to play in 2 weeks, and I think they're going to take the frustration of having to practice and not being able to play, as well as getting that win. The last game they did play, I think they go to Stewart County, and I think they get the win.
All right. Brendan disagrees with you. He goes with Stewart County.
All right.
And the Tennessee School for the Deaf says they got a bye week on the schedule, because Brendan sent me a pick for TSD, so he might have been looking at something else on the schedule.
That game was postponed. TSD's having COVID issues.
Okay, so
the game was postponed.
So yeah, they will not be playing on Friday. On
Saturday.
Not
for TSD.
on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yep. So that game delayed. All right. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week for Friday is James. We can get a slight drum roll. I said drum roll. Not man.
It's a slow drum roll.
Oh goodness. All right. Friday night we will be at Charlie Daniels Park. The
Devil went down to
game.
Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bank.
Good song,
He was
but
looking to make a deal.
That's a good song, but we're not in Georgia. We're in Mount Juliet. We're at Charlie Daniels Park.
I tell you what. I'm a
good
good
song,
pretty
Lee.
good fiddle boy, but give the devil his due.
The Tennessee
Play
Heat
fiddle
host the
gold against
Providence
yourself.
Christian
Here,
Academy
hey,
Lions.
Heat, I'm going to call you out right now.
Oh, boy.
Y'all better run out to Devil went down to Georgia.
You already said that last year.
They did it, and then we didn't get to be at the game. Do it again.
We were there
Run
last
it
year.
back.
I'm pretty sure we were there last year we were there for their home.
Yeah,
we were there for their homecoming. Yeah, I think you were unable to make it. But anyways, Providence Christian Academy, they had a tough loss. 2 weeks prior against Grace Baptist, they had a bye week. They had a chance to rest, and now they collide with the Tennessee Heat. So, James, this is the time to not focus on Charlie Daniels' music and focus on the football game.
I can't
that's
actually
about
play
to
it, or I'll give
happen.
us a copyright claim.
No, you can't. Even humming it, we're about to get a copyright claim. Oh, surprisingly, no copyright claims from our game last night. Not one on the stream, which is
That's very surprising.
no, it's surprising.
I'll get into that later.
Okay, Tennessee Heat, Providence Christian. Who you got in this one in the Tennessee Heat's homecoming football game?
Providence has had a good season. They did take a tough loss to Lancaster. They took a whooping against Grace. Heat have struggled. They've had guys out with injury issues. I think that changes on Friday night. And I've got the Tennessee Heat beating Providence on homecoming night.
All right. Well, Brendan disagrees with you. He's got Providence Christian.
That's cool. He's got a right to be wrong.
I mean, honestly, it could be that, or it could be Coach Ferguson gets the job done. You think about that as well? Because again, with a week of rest going into it, and with the Tennessee Heat, I'm not sure if they have any injuries or if they've been banged up from that 11-man game. But it's going to be interesting to see how that is Friday night, and then Saturday
to be fair,
night.
to defend Brendan's pick, Providence did whoop Zion, and Heat had a close game. So,
we'll see how that goes. But for Saturday night, we will be back in Ottawa. The Grace Baptist Academy Golden Eagles.
Ottawa. It's wa, not wa.
The Grace
Wah.
Baptist Academy Golden Eagles.
Ah,
I heard you.
wah.
I heard you. The Golden Eagles host the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights in a TSIAA South Divisional matchup that more than likely will determine who is the #1 seed in the state playoffs. At least the way it's shaping. We don't know about Franklin Christian really, but that's the way it's shaping right now. And with the way that Grace Baptist has been playing week in and week out, how dangerous the RPO is, it's a matchup that is going to be what we call a barn burner there, James.
This is, I mean, in terms of the magnitude of the two teams coming into a game, in terms of a non-championship game or a non-Tennessee Alabama, this is Deuce Bragg, Cooper Connett. This is Mason Long versus Devin Hargrove. Lane Spurlock versus
I'm going to say Kalen Robinson.
No, Caleb Adams.
Caleb Adams. Yep.
This is Mason Long, Caleb Adams, Cole Mason versus Elijah Moore. I mean, these are two stacked football teams, and they've never played. Even in 11-man, they've never played. So this is a massive game on Saturday night. I'm so happy it's in Ottawa. I'm super excited about going down. That crowd was great.
Yeah.
Crowd was very interactive, very supportive of everybody, of us, the officials, and absolutely love going down there for a game. I'm now going to look forward to going down to chat.
All right, well, looking forward to going down to chat, but you have to choose who's going to take the W in this game and what's likely going to determine who gets the first round bye and hosts a game in later October. So, James, do you have the Golden Eagles or the Knights taking the W?
You know what I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to Lancaster upsetting Grace Baptist and knocking them down from #1. I think Lancaster rolls into Ottawa and handles business. I think Deuce Bragg gets it done.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, okay. I will directly quote Brennan's text here. Fly on, Golden Eagles, Grace Baptist! ! He's had too many times where the coaches have told him to eat humble pie.
He's now picking Grace.
Yeah, he's picking Grace. So
and with good reason.
Yeah, absolutely good reasons.
But I think he's wrong.
It's just like you mentioned all the time. He is in his right to be wrong. Maybe that's the case. All right. Well, that wraps it up for our Week 6 picks. And Brendan's not here. He usually give his shout outs. He probably needs to give a shout out to the teams and players and things like that. But all right, James, go ahead and give us your shout outs for Week 5, heading into Week 6.
I want to give a shout out. I'm going to figure out how to word this because I was very hot about it last night. I want to give a shout out to the coaches that want to get their players as much recognition post-game as they can. It is completely inexcusable, disgusting, and just ridiculous to not take every opportunity you have to get a player recognized. Okay? I understand there's branding on it. Fairlife Core Power. I get it. The reason that's on there is to pay for being able to travel to Ottawa, Tennessee and cover a ball game, to be able to eat a meal after the game when some of us haven't eaten in quite a while. We've covered a ball game, been working very hard. That's why there's branding on this. So if you got an issue with the branding, that's why. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. That's how things have to be done. We're not, school funded or school backed. It baffles me why you would not take the opportunity. And you mentioned on the broadcast, Coach Bragg declined being coming on the post-game interview, getting interviewed, and getting his player recognized.
Just to give full context of how that happened, they broke from the post-game huddle. I was walking over to Coach Bragg to let him know because I didn't get a chance to tell him pre-game about, because usually I talk to the coach to tell him this is what we usually do. I didn't get a chance to do that because we had a very brief interaction. I started walking over towards him, and Coach Bragg said to me, "No, I'm good." And I said, "Well, Coach, we want to get you and your player of the game for the post-game report." And he said, "No, I'm good." Walked the other way with his team. That's how that went down last night. And credit to the interim coach for Ezel Harding, Coach Chad Thompson.
Absolutely.
Yeah, credit to him.
Round of applause
credit to him
for him stepping up and going, you know what?
Yeah.
I do want to recognize one of my players
Yep.
that absolutely busted his butt last night. Yes, they
Yep.
lost the game, but he laid it out on the line for his team. And so much credit to Coach Thompson and huge kudos and shout out to Melvin on his performance last night and getting picked to be player of the game. But I again, a shout out to coaches who want to get their players recognized in every possible situation and way that they can.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I will clarify is that last night, I just want to read a text I sent to Coach Bragg last night that I've had no response to. I said, "Hey, Coach, just wanted to reach out because I feel as if there is hostile tension between us that I would like to address. Since this is my last season covering the 8-man football world, I really do not want to leave any ill will nor strife behind when everything is over. I do not understand what I could have done." And again, I was reaching out personally because I can't speak for James. I choose not to.
Or the brand.
I said, I do not understand what I could have done to make you so upset and standoffish, but I would like to have a conversation so that I won't make the same mistakes with others in the future. You are certainly in your right to stay silent and not tell me anything, but just know I want to make things right between us and find some common ground. I really do appreciate the interactions we have had over the years and don't want those memories to be tainted by whatever may have caused you to be this way. No response yet. And to my knowledge, anytime you've reached out asking him for a player of the week, no text response.
He has not sent a player of the week nominee, which, again, those nominees come from coaches. So, like last week where we only had 4, any teams that played a game the week before and there's no nominee for player of the week, it's because no coaches sent a player of the week or they did not send stats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 texts on red, 8 texts on red.
Yeah, because you're both Android. They're both Android users, and they leave read receipts on there, so you know that he's directly read your texts and ignored them. So we've done our part. We're trying to be adults about this, and we're trying to honor the players of Lancaster Christian, especially per the
performance they gave last night.
The performance they gave. We were trying to honor probably Spurlock if he was the player of the game. We're trying to be adults about this. Even at the Jamboree, I tried talking to Coach Bragg afterwards, and he was talking to his wife. I stood a distance, and he saw me, and when I started walking away, he walked over to the bus and then corralled his players. He knew I was there. He knew that I was standing over there, and he directly ignored me. We're trying to be adults about this.
To be fair, this isn't the only coach that has not sent us a nominee
that is
for Player
true.
of the Week. But this is just a situation where it's not a communication issue over a phone or over electronic communication. This is a straight up face-to-face declining of something like that, and it's super frustrating to go broadcast a game, get home, get 3 hours of sleep, roll through your day, still make the decision to drive down and cover the ball game, and to basically get disrespected like that.
Didn't you also talk to him before the game?
Had a chance to say a few words with him. I asked him if we were okay. He said we're cool.
Yeah,
and. So
didn't he say that you guys were cool?
He said we were cool.
Yeah, he directly said to James that we're cool.
It is, but anyways, that's enough said on it. But it is so that's to explain why the player of the game was from the losing team. It was not a bias on our part against Lancaster.
No, again,
to where we said we don't want to recognize a Lancaster player.
And again, we leave it to the coach to give us their player of the game. It's not for our decision. We make predictions on that, yes. And sometimes if a coach is asking, I don't know which player I want to do for the game, we'll say, hey, here's who we thought. And they at the end of the day, the coach has the final decision on that. Walked up to Coach Bragg. He said, no, I'm good. Walked the other way.
So anyways,
we're trying to be adults about it.
I mentioned it earlier. Another shout-out I want to give is to Grace Baptist and the fans and the environment there. Very hospitable. The fans were just even we were able to even when the official would make a call, the fans, there was no booing from the fans at Grace Baptist. I don't know how you have fans from a Christian school boo an official's call. I've never seen that. Never heard of it. It's uncalled for. You would think the standard would be a little bit higher.
I've heard it sometimes at basketball tournament matches when it comes to some of those calls, and you maybe hear once or twice at certain places. But yeah, Saturday night it was.
You might have one person that call stinks or something, and it's typically everybody knows who it is, why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But collectively, you do not hear a crowd boo a call at a Christian school football game. Does not happen. Should not happen.
You also don't hear music being played over a referee's announcements on the PA system.
You don't hear that either.
That happened a few times yesterday. It was kind of. I mean, I could kind of understand because if the volume was a little low or something. But if you're seeing the official doing motions or making a call, it's like
crazy.
Maybe turn down your music or something. But
anyways,
unfortunate. That's the preachy session or the hey, this happened session.
That's listen. We're going to cover it all. We're going to discuss it all, and it is what it is. There's people that are going to disagree with our point of view and maybe not like our point of view, and that's cool. Let's be adults about this. Let's just have different opinions on it.
Yeah, let's be adults about it. We certainly are on our part. But any other shout-outs you have here for today, James? Because I could think of
it. What do you got?
I could think of one that's to your left that if you don't make the shout-out right now, she's going to kill you.
Kill's a strong word. There's a lot of paperwork involved in killing. Not speaking from experience.
I certainly hope not. Certainly hope not.
Do what? That's fair.
Yeah, you're worth more alive than dead. Shout out to Monica Shannon on the other side of the camera.
Why
Hopefully
you didn't let me get to it?
You said you were going. You're
I
like
didn't
Kill's
say
a
I
strong
weren't
word.
going to.
All right, go ahead.
Shout out to my smoking hot wife.
There you go. There you go. She's here in studio. I believe the second time this season. Yeah, she was at the opening show.
We're out
for the
as
year.
a family, so
something like that. She's got to make the travel with us down to one of the Alabama games, probably. Or
possibly.
Well, I know she's going to come down to Florida. I know that's not an option, but she'll have to come down to something. You know she is. There's no way she would say no to going down to Florida, especially with taking the kids on the beach and all of that. You know it would be a fun time. But shout out to Brendan again, living his best life over in Knoxville this weekend. We'll see him back on Friday. He's probably gonna have a fun time being back at Charlie Daniels Park because we were there a few weeks ago. Enjoy the experience and everything, and it's gonna be fine there. But yeah, shout out to Brendan. Shout out, of course, to Audrey and Matthew on the other side of the camera, working as hard as they usually do, and. No other shout-outs I can think of unless those two have anything. Don't think so. All right. Well, that is gonna do it. That is gonna do it for this week's episode of Extreme Talk, presented by GracePointe Healthcare, fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein, financially supported in part by First Horizon, and sponsored by Crumble Cookies and Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. For James Shannon, for Brendan Daniel, Audrey Green, Matthew Cruz, Monica Shannon, as well as Jerry Jr. and Spencer Thompson, saying we'll see you next week for Tennessee Heat and Providence, and then Saturday night for Grace Baptist and Lancaster.
See ya!